Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here now that my two obligatory informative videos are done for the day, including another day of my Bulgarian style training footage. It's time for me to talk about current events in the online fitness community. And a number of my subscribers have awared me that Kinobody, the wise one, or Kinobody, or Bruce, or Alan, or whatever you want to call him. Alan is his real name, by the way. That he was struggling with a 405 deadlift yesterday. So I went to go check it out. Decided, yeah, I'm going to cover this for the day. So let me put on my +5 hat of weaponsmithing, work on skilling up my crafting a little bit, and let's talk about this. Now, a couple of you guys were naughty today. This morning, you sent me DMs. When I wasn't fully awake, over on Instagram, trying to wake up. I thought I would actually check the DMs there because I do on occasion, even though Brittany runs it. And I thought, what a coincidence, because I was going to cover Kinobody today on the deadlift. They sent me messages telling me, oh my God, he's been injured in a van attack. Well, I didn't know what they were talking about. I started trying to search his Instagram. He hadn't put anything up today. He hadn't posted today. And mind you guys, I was not fully awake. Then I start trying to Google what happened. Then I look over and I see in the news there had been an attack with a van in Toronto, and I guess Toronto is a city he lives in. And for a moment there, you guys got me hook, line, and sinker. I started looking to see if he had actually been hurt in this, because I was not fully awake. You guys got me. You got me. And it gets worse. It gets worse. At that moment, I realized I just got trolled. Like, I got trolled hard. I took the bait. 9 out of 10 trolled an attempt. 2 of you guys did it. You know who you are. 2 of you guys did it. That's why I fell for it. And then what popped in my head was, before I realized, was that maybe he got targeted because of his sexual orientation or something like that. Well, then afterwards, I'm sipping my coffee and I realize that that's what popped into my head. And I'm like, I started laughing. That's because that's what popped into my head, because he is a little effeminate. We don't know anything else about it. We don't know his sexual orientation. We have no clue. But that's what popped in my head. And then I started laughing with a mouthful of coffee, and I snorted coffee through my nose. Now, mind you, I drink Folgers, and you guys know what Ripto says about people who drink Folgers. That's a point of contention I disagree with him on. One of the biggest false things that man has ever said is about Folgers coffee. But it's not a particularly good coffee, so it burned like hell. And that was God's way of punishing me for laughing about that. And I realized that at that moment, as I have coffee dripping out of my nose, burning, splattered on my computer screen. I realized that was God's way of punishing me for thinking that. And I sat back for a moment and I'm like, you know what? That was not funny. That's not cool for me to be laughing at something like that. I've gone through a lot as a YouTuber. And for me to laugh about the idea of a fitness YouTuber, another fitness YouTuber, being involved in something like that was not right. And I kind of felt bad. I felt bad. I felt like a bad person for a moment. Felt bad, and I said, you know what, that wasn't right. I shouldn't be laughing at ideas like that. Not cool, bro. Not cool at all. So I took another sip of my coffee, and then I pictured Strap-on driving this van. Needless to say, my sinuses are clear today. I can breathe deeply after squirting Folgers through my nose twice. But on to Kenobody's deadlift. I'm gonna flip it in here. Now there he is deadlifting 405. Now this is the same Kinobody who tried to claim he's stronger than me and he's struggling 405. You guys have watched me do what? 500 for 7 without a belt. I've done what? 515 for 5 on here without a belt. Hell, I might have done, if I've done 525 for 5 lately without a belt in the last year, I may have on camera. I don't know. I've done it in the gym. I don't know if I've done it on camera. I'm working towards getting a 700 deadlift, and I got a kid. Comes to my channel saying he's stronger than me with a 405 deadlift. It's like, bro, I'm stronger than you at the bench, the squat, the deadlift, the overhead press, because he didn't even touch his chest. I demonstrated 225 strict from a dead stop on my chest. Okay, and I'm trying to work to 250. It's my goal for this year. That's my goal for the year. You know, and he wants to talk about being stronger than me, and then he's basically shimmying. Now, he's been working on this deadlift for months. Didn't he start with a 405 for 2, no chalk? Then he goes to do 405 for 1, and he's struggling. That was a max for him. That was a grinder. That shaking indicates, and he says, well, I'm tired. Well, you're always supposed to be tired when you deadlift. Who in the hell deadlifts? Does anybody deadlift fresh? Is like their first exercise of the day when you hit a max? I hope not. You're not going to be able to do that in any sort of competition. I don't care whether it's powerlifting or strength lifting or anything else. You don't deadlift fresh. You've always done other lifts before you hit a deadlift. So I don't know why that matters. I don't know why that matters. You think that you're going to be doing deadlifts fresh in any sort of competitive environment? No. All these guys who you see, oh man, that guy at me deadlifted 700. Yeah, he did a squat and bench first for a max. Actually, he did 6 of them. He did 3 squats and 3 benches, then he deadlifted. Of course you're fatigued. That's no excuse. You need to learn to pull when you're fatigued. The other thing that was scary there, you notice the arm bend. We're going to come back and we're going to talk about injury prevention, like we always need to do with Kinobody. Now, this is a guy selling $50 ebooks, sells all these products. Yet again, his injury risks are enormous in the way he trains. Tell him Nova knows. Even Nova knows you pull the slack out of the bar. Notice he had a bent elbow all the way through on that supinated hand. You see that scar right there? I learned this when I was a young man the hard way. And that's a word of wisdom for all of you out there. That's not a word of intelligence or good thinking when I was younger. That's a word of wisdom from past experience. Pull the slack out of the bar, guys. You guys always notice I do that little bit of hip drop and I pull the bar before I break it. Pull the slack out of the bar. Get those elbows locked out. That is how you tear a bicep, especially on that supinated hand. So, you know, again, we got Kinobody over here demonstrating bad techniques, doesn't know how to deadlift, and that's fine. If you don't know how to perform an exercise, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with being a noob. There's nothing wrong with needing to learn. We all can still learn things. I'm having to analyze all my squatting right now, slowing it down frame by frame, so that I can find things that I might need to fix, because we can always become more proficient at our lifts. Right? We can always become more technically proficient at our lifts. We can always do things to reduce our injury risk when we're lifting heavy. So that's not a knock. It's that the guy is completely oblivious to these things. He's completely oblivious to his bad habits that are really, really, really bad habits. And he does a lot of them on his lifts that are going to eventually hurt him. And the thing is, they're risking the muscles that he needs the most to make his living. His pecs, his biceps, his face. Those are the 3 things he's risking the most, because he's never bothered to learn the basics. Never bothered to learn the basics. But yet he sells books on training. Goes to show you guys how far you can get with a little bit of trend and a little bit of hard work in the gym and doing just enough of the right exercises, huh? Goes to show a lot, doesn't it? Particularly if you're willing to starve yourself. Intermittent fasting. But the point is, we've got something to look at here. That lack of pulling the slack out. You have to pull the slack out on every rep before you pull. All right, that is essential for a safe deadlift. It's one reason we don't do touch and go. It's why guys who do touch and go eventually tend to get hurt. For a lot of reasons. You've got to get tight, ratchet up tight, pull the slack out of the bar before you do the pull, before you break it off the floor. All right, I've demonstrated it plenty of times for you guys. You all know what I'm talking about if you've been watching me for over the years. And that's really important because, again, this kid's going to get hurt. He is going to get hurt because he doesn't know basic techniques on basic barbell lifts, and that's not a good thing. And it's scary that people follow that. All right, guys, well, that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.